Hello, welcome back. Today is a very interesting topic. It is all about how to bring up raising your rates. So exciting, right? And also potentially intimidating. And I understand both of those sides. So I'm going to walk you through what has really worked for me, um, being a freelance writer who's grown her business to multi six figures even in the first year, to now getting to mentor other writers and how to do the same, and even just owning a content marketing agency where I mentor writers every day and have these conversations around rates. And honestly, love to see when a team member brings up it's time to raise their rates. It just makes me really proud because I feel like they're doing what they should do as a business owner. And I'm so happy to continue to support their growth. So I want to bring all those perspectives together to share how you can authentically talk about raising your rates in a way that feels good, to feel confident in doing it, to know and remind yourself of your value, and even just the tactical of like, what do you say? How do you bring it up? That kind of thing. All right. So the first thing to remember is that as the business owner, as your own boss, part of your yearly tasks is to raise your rates. This would happen in corporate, right? You would have an annual review or a yearly discussion. And if you have a good boss and a good manager, they're going to be diligent to make sure that they are thinking about ways to continually give you career opportunities, to increase your rates, to demonstrate how they value you as a company through payment, and also to just make sure that you are getting a livable wage that outpaces inflation, all that stuff, right? So I think good managers are intentional about doing that thing and giving their people opportunities. And so remember that you, as your own manager now and as your own boss, you want to be a good boss, right? You want to be a good manager. You want to give yourself all those same opportunities and more. That's why you create your own business. So while it can be challenging, you have to make sure you remember it's within your rights and your responsibilities and your duties to advocate for yourself. And it's also, if you take the emotion out of it, it's just part of your role. You are now the boss, you are now the manager. Consider doing this for yourself the way that you would your own team, right? Being a good manager. So make this part of your yearly process. What I personally like to do is think about doing it at the start of every year, right? So towards the end of the year, to send some kind of email that says and just lets your client know that at the start of the year, in the new year, your rates will be this new amount, right? Like you'll be raising it incrementally. And the reason I like to do that towards the end of the year, kind of leading up to a new year, is because one, I think clients are expecting it a lot of the time. Everyone is having those end of year discussions. Everyone's planning their budget for the new year. So it's kind of respectful of them being able to allocate how much they're going to dedicate to certain people or resources, right? And it also is just a very natural time to give people that breathing room of the holidays and to let them know that starting in the new year, it makes sense, right? Another year has gone by, so it makes sense that you would be raising your rates to reflect the added value and expertise and experience that you've gained. So that's kind of a time of year that I personally like to do it. Now, in terms of how much you raise them by or what you say, that can really be up to you. What I would try and do is just make sure that your rates, you are leading with the value that you have gained over the past year. So if you're communicating to your employer, I just want to let you know that starting in the new year, 2023, 2024, whenever you're watching this, my rates will be X amount going forward. This is to reflect the experience that I've gained in working with your company, the way I'm able to be more efficient, or the efficiencies we've gained, the extra expertise I've gained in writing for X, X, and X, like other publications or industries or things like that that show your worth and how you've grown as a writer. And what that does is I think everyone knows, like intuitively over the past year you've gained expertise, right? But no one's necessarily paying attention to your career track as closely as you. So I think it's almost just by laying it out more clearly, it helps the brain latch on to, of course this makes sense, right? And of course this new rate reflects a year's worth of expertise, and the fact that you've now written for all these other companies, and the fact that you have gained this much more efficiencies in writing for them because you understand their industry so much better. If you can, it's always smart as a business owner to keep track of results that you've helped this client achieve. So maybe you have helped them increase their blog traffic or the amount of leads that have come into their website through your content. Maybe their social media account has grown from you writing for it. Maybe every email that you've helped them write has resulted in $10,000 in revenue, right? So that can be another thing that you just point out as proof of why you are worth a growth in your rate, to say, over the past year, I'm so proud that we have both working together been able to generate 20,000 leads through our written content. This shows that it's really demonstrating value, and I'm so excited to continue to provide that value for you. Would love to even discuss what your goals are for the new year and how I can help you take your business to that next level. But things like that that show that it's not just about the money, but it's about the added value and where your content is helping drive their business, I think can all be part of that discussion, right? Another thing that I personally like to do, although it's totally open to your style and what feels good to you and authentic for you, is, for me, I personally like to send this as an email. And then I like to include something at the end that just says, wanted to send this as an email, so that you had time to process and reflect, but I'm of course happy to hop on a call with you if you'd like to talk further, or something like that, right? Because then you're almost letting them know that you're not trying to just send an email and drop them with all this information, but that you're being mindful of your partnership with them and want both exchanges to feel good. So instead of just being on a call and having them have to answer in real time, it can be thoughtful to send an email and give them the chance to collect their thoughts, to check with their accounting team if they need to run some new numbers, if something doesn't feel good to them, to give them time to process and to create their planned out response to you as well, right? So we can just remember, these are your partners, these are your clients, these are people that you love working with. And so you want the exchange to feel really good on both sides. And you want them to be able to make sure that your new value is worth it for them. And just remember too that in some cases it may not be, and that's okay as well, right? Because it doesn't mean that you then need to stay at a lower rate or that you need to not continue to grow your rates and your value every year, because that doesn't necessarily reflect your current value either. So it's okay if certain partnerships that grows, you grow out of each other. You can always have a discussion about it to find something that feels good for both of you. But what I have found is just kind of remembering these tenets, that it's completely natural and to be expected and normal to raise your rates once a year. I personally like to do it around the holidays, maybe around October or November, because it gives at least a month for people to work it into their budgets, to have time over that busy time of year to process and work it into their plan where there's no rush. It's expected usually around like New Year's, everyone's ready for changes and growth. And then making sure that you really demonstrate your value and you're not just asking for more money for the sake of more money, but you're actually asking for something that now better reflects the value that you offer. And you can, again, explain that through things like what you've helped the business achieve, through efficiencies you've gained, through more expertise you've gained through working with them, through the number of posts you've written for their company, for how much better you understand this industry now, things like that. And then just letting them know that you are happy to discuss further, and just reminding them of how much you value their partnership and building whatever you're building together. So I would love to know in the comments, is this something that you've thought about before? Are there any aha moments you've gained from thinking through it in this way? What has worked for you? Has anything not worked for you? And maybe that can be a discussion for another video one day. But really, I just hope this helps remind you that you can be empowered to be a business owner and to do what's right for your business and what's right for your value, and also what's right for your clients and your partnerships, right? And that the more you're valued, the better work you're able to do, the more efficient you're able to be, the better you're able to get to know your clients. So it really becomes this win-win. And remember too, that the right client and the right business owner, especially if it's a fair amount, which you want to always be charging, that they're going to enjoy being able to compensate you in this way, right? Because I can speak as a business owner. It feels good to pay people who are doing amazing work and who are always on time and who I always read stuff that I love. It feels good to compensate them well and to help them build their businesses and to even give them raises when the time comes. So the right partnerships, I think, can feel like that for you, where it feels like this fun exchange that you both get to be a part of and you both get to help each other's businesses grow as well. All right, so I hope this is helpful and encourages you go out there, build your business, and let me know what other questions you have in the comments.